The timeless allure of immortality has inspired creativity since the dawn of humanity, compelling people to etch their stories in stone. At El Morro, a majestic sandstone promontory in New Mexico, ancient petroglyphs and historic inscriptions left by passers-by weave a captivating tapestry of the region's diverse cultural heritage. El Morro, a timeless sanctuary, has captivated people for thousands of years. This majestic sandstone promontory bears witness to the marks left by countless generations, from ancient Puebloan petroglyphs to Spanish explorers' paso por aquí, inscriptions and American travelers' chiseled names, all evidence of the enduring human desire for immortality and legacy. El Morro is a cuesta, a long formation that gently slopes upward before dropping off abruptly at one end. The sandstone layers that make up El Morro were deposited over millions of years by wind, desert streams, and even an ancient sea. Over time, the upward pressure from underground forces and the weight of the rock above caused cracks to form in the sandstone, which gradually weathered into the prominent vertical joints we see today. What really sets El Morro apart is the presence of a reliable water source at its base. For centuries, travelers on the ancient trade route that passed by El Morro relied on the pool of runoff and snowmelt water that collected at the foot of the bluff. They would rest in the shade of the towering cliffs and leave messages and inscriptions on the rock face, creating a unique record of their passing. Today, that same pool continues to nourish the vibrant plant life that surrounds it, from sunflowers and cattails to native grasses. El Morro's significance as a cultural crossroads can be traced back to its location on an ancient east-west trail. The Zuni people, whose ancestors lived atop El Morro, called it Atsinna, which means place of writings on the rock. The Spanish referred to it as El Morro, or the headland, while Anglo-Americans dubbed it Inscription Rock. For centuries, travelers from all walks of life camped at this shaded oasis, leaving behind symbols, names, dates, and fragments of their stories. These carvings serve as a register of the intermingled cultures and histories that have shaped the American Southwest. The earliest known inhabitants of El Morro were the ancestral Puebloans, who descended from desert hunter-gatherers. Around 2,000 years ago, they began to shift towards a more settled agricultural way of life, establishing small villages along the streams and rivers of the region. Over time, these villages grew into large, multi-storied towns centered around plazas, with the Zuni people emerging as important trading middlemen between the various Puebloan cultures of the Southwest. One of the most impressive remnants of this early Puebloan presence at El Morro is the Atsinna ruins, which sit atop the mesa and date back to the late 1200s. Atsinna was a massive complex, with over 875 interconnected rooms housing between 1,000 and 1,500 people. The Puebloan builders used local sedimentary rock, piling flat slabs and cementing them with clay and pebbles to create towering walls and multi-storied dwellings. At the heart of the complex was an open courtyard, surrounded by square and circular kivas that served as gathering spaces, spiritual places, and ceremonial chambers. Despite their impressive engineering and architectural feats, the Puebloan inhabitants of Atsinna only occupied the site for around 75 years before abandoning it, possibly due to prolonged drought or other environmental pressures. Nevertheless, Atsinna and other nearby sites remain deeply sacred to the Zuni people to this day, part of a larger homeland that once stretched far beyond the boundaries of their modern reservation. As the Puebloan era at El Morro drew to a close, a new wave of visitors began to arrive in the form of Spanish conquistadors and missionaries. In the late 1500s, the second generation of Spanish explorers in the Americas became fixated on the idea of finding the mythical golden cities of Cibola, which they believed lay somewhere to the north of their existing settlements. One of the first Spanish expeditions to pass by El Morro was led by Francisco Vázquez de Coronado in 1540. While Coronado and his men were ultimately disappointed by the Zuni and other Puebloan towns they encountered, failing to find the riches they had hoped for, their journey marked the beginning of a new era of Spanish influence in the region. In 1605, the Spanish conquistador Juan de Oñate left the first known European inscription on the rock face at El Morro, marking a watershed moment in the site's history. Over the following decades, scores of Spanish governors, soldiers, and priests would follow in Oñate's footsteps, leaving behind brief notes and records of their passage as they made their way to the Zuni villages and other western pueblos. The Spanish inscriptions at El Morro provide insights into New Mexico's early colonial history, ranging from routine paso por aquí markings to accounts of battles and rebellions. In 1680, the Pueblo Revolt, fueled by resentment against Spanish oppression, briefly expelled the colonizers. However, by 1692, the Spanish, led by Don Diego de Vargas, had reconquered the territory, commemorating their victory with an inscription at El Morro. As Spanish power in the region waned in the late 1700s and early 1800s, El Morro became an increasingly important waypoint for Navajo, Apache, Ute, and Comanche travelers, who took advantage of the site's reliable water source and strategic location. However, by the time New Mexico passed into American hands following the Mexican-American War of 1846 to 1848, El Morro had begun to lose its prominence as a major transportation corridor. One of the first Americans to take a serious interest in El Morro was Lieutenant James H. Simpson, who visited the site in September of 1849, along with the artist Richard Kern. Over 2 days, Simpson and Kern painstakingly copied and documented the inscriptions they found at the base of the cliffs, with Simpson providing the first detailed written description of inscription rock, and Kern producing the earliest known drawings of the carvings. The site became a popular stopping point for westward-bound emigrants and military expeditions. The U.S. Army even experimented with using camels as pack animals on the route past El Morro, with Lieutenant Edward Beale leading a caravan of the exotic beasts through the area. When the camels arrived in Los Angeles in December 1857, pulling an express wagon, the local newspaper exclaimed, "The camels are coming!" The article marveled at the animals' ability to navigate mountainous terrain, eat cacti, and thrive in conditions that would be deadly for horses and mules. El Morro's role as a significant stop on Western trails was ending. The Union Pacific Railroad's decision to bypass the cliffs in favor of a northern route through Campbell's Pass in 1868, and the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1881, rendered the old wagon road past El Morro nearly obsolete, although local traffic persisted for a while. Today, El Morro National Monument offers visitors a chance to walk in the footsteps of the countless generations who have passed by this sacred site. The monument is located just 125 miles west of Albuquerque, an easy drive on scenic highways through the heart of the New Mexico desert. At the end, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Archeo Trek for more incredible videos like this.